Morning, church. This morning, before we come and pray to the Lord, let's spend some time singing to Him. Let's behold Him, Jesus, our Messiah. He who was before there was light, walked across the pages of time. He who made every living thing. Behold. Cry, left his throne to wake as a child. He became like the least of us. Behold him, Jesus, Son of God, Messiah, the Lamb, the roaring Lion. Oh, be still and behold. And saints, healed the blind, the lost in the lame. Even now He is in our midst. Behold Him. He who chose a criminal's end, paid with blood to settle our debt, buried death as He rose to life. So Son of God, Messiah, the Lamb, the roaring Lion. Oh, be still, behold Him, Jesus, Alpha and Omega, our God, the risen Savior. Oh, be still.
Thanks for joining us today at our online prayer gathering. Really glad you've tuned in. It's Wednesday, May 25th. We're kind of nearing the end, and so I hope that this has been a very beneficial time as we have gathered every single weekday to spend some time in the Word and in prayer, with our prayers being focused around the Word. Today's word is in Romans chapter 8, especially verse 35. What a tremendous promise we have here. Listen to what God would say to us. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? And then he lists in this very beginning verse a number of things that are all about suffering. He says, shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or danger or sword. And of course, he goes on through the rest of this chapter describing how nothing will separate us. And he actually concludes by, again, affirming that there's nothing that will separate us from the love of God in Christ. In this initial verse, verse 35, notice how he moves kind of up the spectrum. He starts with what we would consider the least amount of suffering, what we call tribulation, not trying to minimize that, but he's simply saying perhaps it's tribulation on one end. He ends it with this word sword, which is a word for death. And so he's saying wherever we are on the spectrum of difficulty, of suffering, regardless of what we're experiencing, nothing separates us from the love of Christ. And I want to encourage you, fellow FFCer, whatever it is that you're experiencing today that's difficult, wherever it is on the spectrum, it may be light in some ways, it may be extremely heavy in other ways. You may feel like your life is in danger. You may feel like it's just a minor schedule adjustment. Place your difficulty on the spectrum. None of those things, not a single one, will separate you from Christ's love. Nothing can take you out of the grip of God. And that's so comforting today. And so we're going to pray today in light of this verse, and we're going to rest in this promise and express our gratefulness and thankfulness that nothing, no matter where it falls on the spectrum, can loosen God's grip on us, can separate us from His love. Nothing. And in fact, I would just encourage you just to continue to repeat and think about that word as you pray. There is nothing. You can't find it. You can't name it. There's nothing. In fact, in this text, he talks about nothing in all creation. And he goes to really great lengths to describe the vastness of where we live and what we know. And there's nothing within that realm that can separate us. And so, Christian, let's just rest in that in our prayer time this morning. Let's soak in this promise from God, this comfort that His grip is stronger. His love is the greatest. And He has us securely in His hand, even in our suffering, our difficulty, regardless of where it is on the spectrum. He holds you tightly.